Hi, we're just doing this recording because we wanted to remind everybody where to go and leave and pick up extras on SEQTA. So hopefully it's helpful. Remember to ask any questions to Lou and I when you need to. I wanted to show you first that when you first open SEQTA, often you'll go to this home page, and just remember that every time you open SEQTA, that it'll go to the page that you were last on. So it might go to this home page, or it might go to your timetable page. And so you just have to get used to where you need to go. Now what I wanted to show you was one way of leaving an extra, and also one way of picking up an extra. And it's probably what I find the easiest way. So the first thing you need to do is go to your timetable page. If you remember, you go to the blackboard that's here on the left hand side, the teaching workspace, and you click on that. And you need to make sure that the button up the top on this top bar here has traditional on it. And when you click on traditional, you'll see your timetable just like this. You'll see that every class has a workbook, the assessment page, and also the attendance. Now the first thing that you can do when someone has left an extra and you need to take it is, obviously you go to this part here where it says, has the drop down box for the person's name. And you click on that, and you can search on it, and I'll just search for myself again, and you can click on the teacher's name and their timetable will show up. And just say I wanted to leave an extra for Wednesday period 3. I'll just use this timetable page, go down to Wednesday period 3 and click on the workbook button here. You'll see that it says My Day. It's a bit different to what it was last year. So I'll click on this, I'll go to a screen which now has all of my classes for the day on the left hand side. Has a middle panel is where I put all my lessons, and a panel on the right hand side where I can put extra information. Now I make sure that the period that I'm trying to leave a class for is highlighted. It says it's for psychology, strategies for coping with stress. Now what you'll notice is on the right hand side you have lesson info, you have essential learning, which I had already written something in here, and you can put in your learning intention in this page, or in this section. You can put in your success criteria and any some of that essential information that you need. In the middle here is where you would, just like before, put in any activities or any work you want the students to do. So students to complete, and then whatever else you want them to complete, and the things that you want the teacher to do, even step by step. What you notice also on the right hand side, in the right hand panel, is you can enter homework here if you want to. Click the worksheet, students will see that on their own SEQTA page, but also you have this resources section here. So rather than going to another page to put in the resources, you can add them here. If you press on the little arrow, you'll see that I don't have any resources there yet. But all I need to do is press on the add button. Press on the add button, and I can just press on add files. And it says from my device, so I press on that, and then I can find something that I want to add. So I might add, let me see, even though this isn't to do with the actual class, I might add the teen brain still under construction. Press open, and it will say underneath add files the title of the file that I'm just about to put on, and I'll press save. And you'll see on the right hand side, teen brain still under construction. Now you notice here on the right hand side as well that there's this section here called lesson notes. Now this is a section that is just for this period for this class, so I can put in any information that I want to put in there that I don't want the students to ever have access to, but that I can give the teacher some extra information about. So for one purpose, it could be some of that personal, more confidential information about the class that you're leaving. Okay, so I could put in, let me see, Louise needs to sit away from from Dean because they talk too much. Or I could write something like, watch out for Dean because when he gets upset, he may lash out at the teacher or other students. Give him some time out if necessary. And that information the student will never see, and parents will never see when they get onto SEQTA. But if the teacher makes sure they look in this section, they'll be able to see it. You might also use this section if you have a fully shared class. So if your class is fully shared and you already have notes in your lesson plan, which is shared directly with all the other with all the other classes that are in the same year level, you might put in here Dean's extra. I'll just put in the date just in case, and then write down what the students need to do. And that way, if the class is fully shared, you know that a teacher can look there and see what they need to do for your particular class. And once this is done, you've got your lesson prepared, but you might want the students to be able to see something as well. So what you do is you see up the top here it says online lesson. And at the top of where it says online lesson, you have an arrow on the right hand side. And you can just press that and you can go to the section where you can put everything that the students will be able to see. And the great feature about this part of SEQTA is the fact that you can toggle this button and you can go back down to your lesson and back up to the online lesson. You don't need to go to a different page anymore. Now you see on the right hand panel here that you have all these options to be able to insert information into this online lesson. And so you can put in text, or you can put in, see down here, a resource. And how you do that is you just press on the text icon and you drag it in and you insert it somewhere. And that allows you to do text. But what I prefer to do, just delete that, is to use the legacy editor. The legacy editor, just if you drop that in, it gives you a page that's exactly the same as the page that you had when you were putting your lesson in. And then you have access to insert all the things you want to straight onto that section, rather than having to drag in different sections. Now what I often do is I'll often toggle down to the page that I had before, and I'll copy what I have on that page and I'll paste it. Okay. And obviously I'd have much more information there. Now when I want to insert a resource, I can just press insert. It's on the top of this part of the page. Go down, press resource, and you notice that when I press resource, the resource that I entered before automatically appears. So SEQTA's asking me whether I want to use that same resource. So I'll just highlight that and I'll press OK, and it automatically puts that resource in there for the students. As you get more practice, you'll notice as well that if you put a resource directly into the online lesson and you haven't put it into your lesson, it will automatically go in there, so it becomes a resource for the teacher as well. So once we have our online lesson in there, it all saves automatically, so we can toggle back and we know that that's there for the students to see. And once that's done, everything's saved and you can feel confident that everything's there for the teacher that you need. You can enjoy your P day or your professional practice day, or like I say, enjoy your sick day, which you probably won't enjoy anyway. But let's move now to what happens when you want to take an extra, when you've been given an extra to take for somebody else. We might go back to the traditional page, which gives us our timetable. So doing exactly the same thing. You get given Wednesday, period 3 for Dean Berger. Okay, so again, you'll search up his name, search up my name, find it, click on it, come to the page where my timetable is, and you would go directly to this workbook. So you press on the workbook and it'll take you to exactly the same page as we were in before. You can see everything that I've left. You would come down to lesson notes, make sure that the information there you understand, whether it's for the actual lesson or whether it's for students who you need to be mindful of. You have access to the resources here on the right hand side as well. And you can just click on these resources and they will open up for you. And what you notice as well is on the left hand side you have this panel that has the titles of each class, and you can access your attendance directly from there. So you can go straight to the attendance button, which is on the left hand side. You click on that and you can mark the roll for all the students. To go back, just click on the blackboard again. Okay. But what you would need to do is make sure you go to the right date, which would be the Wednesday. Click on the class and it's there again, and you have everything that you need. What we would ask you to do as well is once you've completed the lesson, you have access to the lesson notes as well. And this is a great place where you can leave notes on what happened in the lesson. So you can say, Dean did great, attempted all his work. Some of the students didn't quite finish the worksheet, and I didn't get to the last slide on the presentation. That way when I come into this lesson later I can have a look and I can see that some things weren't finished and I know where to start from in my next lesson, and I can also see if there are any issues with any of the students in particular with their work, especially when I come into the class next and Dean says to me, no, the teacher didn't tell me to do that work, and you have it there, that what they did and what you can follow up with. So, and that's basically it. Enter those notes, look at the work that's here, you have the attendance there for everybody to do, and you only need to go to minimal screens. You don't need to be popping in and out to be able to complete all this work. So hopefully that's explained things well. If you have any questions, remember to see us and we'll be able to help with anything.